You've testified that it was $25 billion in cost in terms of the munitions we used and what we paid for it. But when you add to that the damage that was done to our bases and today's dollars for buying replacement munitions and replacement aircrafts, what has the total cost been over the last 60 days?
That number right now reflects the total cost that we're seeing.
Including buying in today's dollars the new weapons and replacements, and including the damage there? That's your testimony?
If there's adjustments to that, I would defer to the comptroller on that.
And how much are you seeing in terms of, are you asking in terms of supplemental funding just for the Iran mission from this committee?
If and when a supplemental is submitted, the majority of it would not just be for,
what would be the ballpark for Iran?
Munitions related to the entirety of what we want to get done.
A number, what would you submit?
It would be within on Iran, it would be less than $25 billion, but there's a lot more we would ask for beyond just Iran.
You're saying it's $25 billion. Okay, I would just, if you come back, you want to revise those numbers, because all the experts are disagreeing with you when it comes to today's dollars and damage, but you can revise it. How much did it cost American taxpayers in terms of the strike to the Iranian school where kids were killed? Do you have that number in terms of the missiles we used?
As I've said, that unfortunate situation remains under investigation.
You don't know how much it costs the taxpayer?
But I wouldn't tie a cost to that, to anything.
It's a reasonable question, no, sir? I mean, our taxpayer money was going there. Do you know how much it will cost Americans in terms of their increased cost in gas and food over the next year because of the Iran war?
I would simply ask you what the cost is of an Iranian nuclear bomb.
I'm going to give you that opportunity.
I would simply ask you what you're playing gotcha questions about domestic things. I'm not.
You're saying it's a gotcha question to ask what it's going to be in terms of the increased cost of gas.
Why won't you answer what it costs to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear bomb?
I give you that, sir. But let me.
What would it cost? What would you pay to ensure Iran doesn't get a nuclear bomb? What would you pay?
I reclaim my time. Do you not know? You had no one do the analysis of what the increased cost of gas and food on the American people are going to be?
What is the cost of Iran holding that straight at issue with nuclear weapons?
It's $631 billion, which means it's an increase of $5,000 a year for American households. Now, let me give you this point. You're saying that your operation is preventing a nuclear Iran. Will you acknowledge that there is an economic cost to the American people for doing what you believe is necessary to make Iran denuclear? Will you acknowledge the economic cost?
We have an incredible economic team that's managing this better than what the previous administration did to our economy. What the previous administration did with inflation.
You know what's upsetting?
I reclaim my time. COVID, and you're going to lecture this administration about the economy?
You know what is upsetting?
Incredible.
You didn't even do the analysis on how much it's costing the American people. It's one thing if you said, okay, it costs the American people $5,000, but we think it's worth it. That's what we've done in World War II and other wars. Here's what it costs. You got to pay for it. You don't even know what the average American is paying. You don't know what we paid in terms of the missiles that hit the Iranian school. You don't know what we're paying in terms of gas. You don't know what we're paying in terms of food. Your $25 billion number is totally off. It's the incompetence. It's the incompetence.
Should there ever be a congressional session revealing the sheer inability of this administration to justify its military choices, this was certainly the one. The exchange you just witnessed was not a political stunt, but rather Representative Ro Khanna presenting fundamental inquiries that any defense secretary must be prepared to address. What was the true financial burden of this specific campaign? How much money will American citizens ultimately have to cover? What is the exact price tag for replenishing these depleted munitions? What impact does this carry for households across the country already grappling with inflation? And rather than receiving direct responses, we witnessed constant dodging. Khanna never claimed that Iran poses no danger, nor did he dismiss the importance of national security. His objective was far more straightforward. When you expect the public to fund yet another overseas conflict, the absolute least you can do is know the total cost. That represents the lowest standard of competence. During the entire back and forth, Pete Hegseth consistently attempted to pivot the dialogue toward the Iranian threat rather than confronting the economic inquiries. Whenever Khanna brought up expenses, Hegseth fired back with a rehearsed statement regarding stopping Iran from building a nuclear device, yet that completely ignored the prompt. Khanna pressed him on the cost of restocking weapons and received no coherent reply. He inquired about emergency appropriations and was met with similar evasion. He questioned the potential fallout concerning fuel and grocery expenses, and once more, he got nothing of substance. Alternatively, Hegseth retorted by asking what price tag someone would place on halting an Iranian nuclear weapon. That is not displaying transparency, that is actively running away from it. Within a democratic system, officials are not entitled to exhaust billions in public funds without detailing exactly where those resources are headed. Lawmakers possess a constitutional duty to pose difficult inquiries, particularly whenever armed engagements bring massive monetary ramifications. Consider the economic realities that countless citizens are currently facing. Food is pricey, rent remains elevated, insurance premiums continue to soar, and families are meticulously tracking every single dime. Therefore, when the government initiates another armed intervention abroad, inquiring about the domestic financial fallout is not a trick, it is simply logical. A further telling instance occurred when Khanna disputed the initial $25 billion projection offered by the Pentagon. He pointed out that independent analysts suspect the true burden will be substantially steeper once fresh gear and extended operational costs are factored in. Rather than breaking down the math, Hegseth merely defended the original figure and implied that adjustments might happen down the road. That specific attitude ought to alarm every taxpayer in the country. When you are running the Department of Defense, legislators should never have to guess if your budgetary assessments are entirely accurate. Quite possibly the most aggravating portion unfolded when he brushed off Khanna's scrutiny as merely partisan politics. These were not partisan attacks, they were necessary inquiries meant to ensure proper governmental oversight. Checking executive power remains one of the most vital functions that the legislative branch performs. Interrogating defense budgets does not diminish our safety, but rather fortifies our republic by guaranteeing that civic wealth is managed wisely. The concluding remarks from Khanna perfectly captured the essence of the whole debate. Should the leadership truly believe these expenditures are required, they need to be candid with the public, state the exact price, justify the value, and display the math. What we witnessed instead was a defense official who seemed completely incapable or resistant to offering direct facts regarding the fiscal fallout of a massive combat maneuver. Regardless of your feelings toward the current leadership, every single contributing citizen deserves absolute clarity. Tactical choices carry tangible financial burdens, and the populace merits officials who can articulate those realities rather than sidestepping the inquiries. If you believe Ro Khanna presented the issues that the public needed clarity on, sound off in the comment section below, and if you appreciated this analysis, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the content. I appreciate you tuning in, and I will catch you in the next upload.